My name's Aaron Pickering. I'm the Building and Facilities Manager for OTDI. I've been here for 7 years, going on 8. Most people I talk to when they're like, you manage, you're a building coordinator. What does that mean? What is that? So the easiest way to describe it, it's kind of like being a building super, a facilities manager, data facilities manager, mixed with an office manager. So all those sorts of things. And if you don't know what a building super is, like if you live in an apartment, you have somebody who's just in charge of making sure that, the water's running, the heat's on, all the elements that you need to survive day to day in your apartment or living facility is taken care of. So it's kind of a hybrid of that. That's the easiest way to describe it, I think. Out here on West Campus, I manage Mount Hall. It's our biggest facility. And then just behind us, I manage the satellite communications facility. It's just technicians working out of that building, but I still do manage the facilities requests and things like that for it. And then the telecommunications network center on main campus on 8th Avenue, I manage that center as well. The biggest challenge from the get-go, from out the gate, once we moved in here, was finding space for everybody, right? When everybody moved in, it was great because everyone was so scattered. People are on main campus, people are out at the airport, people are out over on Kinnear Road. So just bringing everybody into one space. The building was meant to include enough open space to renovate, to add desks. But even with that, we started before the pandemic to start to run into sort of running out of space out of those renovated spaces. So we had a lot of contractors working out of this building and these sort of small desks outside of our cubicles. And a lot of those people were working on top of each other. I mean, it was really they just really had a lot of people crammed into our space. Obviously, it wasn't we hadn't reached our max occupancy of the building, but that was a challenge in the beginning. Finding, meeting spaces were a challenge when we first moved into this building. We had all these options, beautiful, innovative spaces for meeting rooms. And even with that, people were running into difficulty finding spaces to meet with people. So we had to get kind of creative. Up by the elevator, we created a meeting room up there. Just be, aware that, everyone can hear your conversation. And out on our patio, the patio seating that we have is set up a little weird, some people might say, but we set it up specifically so if you wanted to have a big meeting on the patio, everyone would be facing in a round sort of way. Obviously you have to leave spaces for ADA, accessible spot for people out there, but a lot of people don't know that. That was intentional to make that space an option for people who wanted to meet out on the patio if the weather was nice. Just trying to get creative with spaces. At one point, I think I even mentioned to people, we have tunnels underneath here on West Campus. I mean, use those. There's nobody in there. So I think everyone knows that some of the tunnels kind of turns into a furniture graveyard for storage, at this point. Obviously, if you're working in the building at Mount, meeting rooms are kind of the pick of the litter. I mean, you have whatever you want to choose from. But, back then that was just a challenge with meeting rooms. It was kind of before, I would say that, we didn't have Teams yet at that point. So people weren't really doing hybrid meetings quite yet at that time. So yeah, that was probably the most challenging thing, but also really fun to see a space expand and be a part of that. But in terms of milestones, obviously the renovation is a huge milestone of the building. When we first moved into this building was the Workday project was starting. That was kind of a big deal. There was lots of people coming over from all over campus getting involved in some of those discussions and some of those meetings. So that was kind of a milestone. Obviously, the pandemic was a huge milestone for us, kind of rethinking what the space looks like, how it operates, how it serves, the people that work here every day. We've also had milestones with some of this open space, renting it out to the Office of Research, ERIC, or the Techstars groups that is now working out of the Garden Level right now. That's an academic program, so that's way different than what we know as Mount. It's just kind of being a business as usual sort of environment. It's just a little different. So those are some milestones that kind of stand out to me. Favorite aspect of it is on a kind of a smaller scale, but is project management. So it's a skill I learned in this role. That's been a really rewarding thing for me professionally, to kind of sink into that, oh, I really like this. And, I'm feel like I'm adding value to our organization in a different way than I do as a facilities manager. So another favorite aspect of being a building coordinator that I've really, really loved is that I get to interact with every part of our organization, right? And when you think about digital security and trust, the infrastructure team, EBS team, it's such a huge organization that not everybody gets to collaborate with people across our organization or get to know people from across our organization. But that's been a really rewarding thing for me, is to establish these relationships with people from across our leadership team, just different teams. It's just been really great to be able to collaborate with them, get to know them, and, again, establish those relationships with them. That's a cool part of this role, right?